even by the Supreme Court. You will recall the case of Governor Obi in Anambra where it was decided. That's why I have some state now with second election. Because it will define that the tenure of a governor is from the date of the swearing in, 4 years thereafter. So the only means provided for in the Constitution for the abridgment of that tenure of the governor is either by death, resignation, incapacitation, or impeachment, and not by suspension by the president or any other person. Section 305, which the president copiously, I think, ill-advised and basically without due consideration of what the Constitution says. And I'm going to read that for emphasis. The president shall immediately after the publication transmit copies of the official gazette of the government of the federation containing the proclamation, including the details of the emergency, to the president of the Senate and the speaker of the House of Representatives, each of whom shall forthwith convene or arrange for a meeting of the House of which he is president or speaker, as the case may be, to consider the situation and decide whether or not to pass a resolution approving the proclamation. I mean, this is so clear. It is not that if the president wakes up in a dream or something comes to him and he says, oh, there's a state of emergency. He can be dreaming and say there's a state of emergency and declares. No. When there are circumstances, he will, after the publication in the Gazette, he will transmit to those houses because sovereignty belongs to the people, as represented by the elected officials and legislators in the National Assembly with regard to the president. And thereafter, it says this, to consider the situation. It is not that the president will consider the situation. It is for the people, the elected people, that has sovereignty to consider the situation and decide. Not that the president will decide. Because let's say I heard him say he decides. He cannot decide. It is the people that decide. Or not to pass or not to pass. The National Assembly, through the two chambers, will make a determination after those facts are presented by the president. The president violated the Constitution by ordering, and this is serious, that the proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State should take immediate effect. That sounds like a strange word in a democracy. We're used to that in the military. But we think if 26, 25, 26, 27 years of democracy should allow begin to purge us of those kind of comments with immediate effect without the approval of the National Assembly. It cannot do that. That's unconstitutional, ill-advised, and it cannot stand. Then I go to section 217, subsection 2C. It empowers the deployment, and this is key, of in a state of emergency. I'm going to refer to the Constitution in a more copious way here. 217, and it deals with, it says, establishment and composition of the armed forces of the Federation. The very relevant point of it is about deployment in situations such as the present embassy, which was not in Rivers State at the time of declaration or the purported declaration. One of the things in section C of section 217 is, and I quote it, it says, empower the deployment of the armed forces to, this is key, suppressing insurrection and acting in, note this, in aid of civil authorities. It says, in aid of civil authorities to restore order when called upon to do so by the president, but subject to such conditions as may be prescribed by an act of National Assembly. Section 217 was violently violated by the President, subsection 2C, by deploying not in aid of civil authorities, but in dismantling civil authorities. And in this matter, who are the civil authorities in Rivers State? The governor, the deputy governor, and the House of Assembly. Now, assuming without considering that indeed there was some breakdown of law of order, assuming without considering because there was none there, the president is only required under section 217, subsection 2C, to aid the authority to restore order. The civil authority, as I mentioned earlier in Rivers State, there's the governor, deputy, and the assembly. The president cannot, under the constitution, attempt to dismantle civil authority. He is, by the provision of this constitution, expected to aid. He was to aid the sustenance of order and peace in the state, not to use that opportunity on that guy to dismantle those civil authorities, to aid them, not to dismantle them. The PDP calls on the National Assembly because these are grievous issues of violation of the Constitution by the President. And so the legislative arm of government, they are powers and they need to invoke that power. We are urging them to do so with regard to this constitutional breach. Governor Fubara, under the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, remains the elected governor of Rivers State. The PDP urges the military and other agencies to be on the side of the law and restrict themselves to their constitutional role of defending democratic rule and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. The PDP will continue to call for calm and stand with the governor of Rivers State, Dr. Fubara, and the people of Rivers State at this very trying time, challenging as it were. President Tinubu should note, and this is to him, Mr. President, please note that a president is expected to be a father of the nation. In a situation of crisis, what is expected to find is a resolver of problems, not an exacerbator of the problem. Mr. President, you are called upon as a father of the nation to solve problems, to bring experience, to bring expertise, to call for calm, not to exacerbate the problem. You should be a resolver of problem, not a man who will increase the problem. Mr. President, your action now, and this is important, the action of Mr. President is now beginning to hurt the people of Rivers State and indeed the nation. Because as at the time, and you should know this, as at the time of the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State, there was peace. We don't believe we can say so now with the declaration of Mr. President of the state of emergency. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and the press, for listening the position of the PDP with regard to those two issues. Now, going forward, there's another development which is the issue I mentioned to you earlier. And so I'll continue to talk about that. I mentioned two issues, one on the state of emergency, and second one, which is another grave threat to democracy. I'm going to be showing you some documents as we proceed. I'm going to get that right now. About the revocation of certificate of occupancies and title document to the properties belonging to the PDP. One, you can look at it from that, but you see that is a targeted effort to ensure that an attack, and like I released yesterday, to stifle opposition in this country. In any event, as you will see presently, those were targeted at democracy. They were targeted at ensuring that opposition are stifled. These are efforts as a last effort, because the APC and those colluding with them, they found out that against all odds, with all the attack on the party, with all the shenanigans that have been generated, that the party continued to strive along, using all the machineries within the system of the party to resolve issues. And they came out with this one. Oh, let's tell them they revoked that. What will be curious about this, and this is very important, with respect to the property of the party, there's a pending court case as to the ownership of the property. And the suit number of that case is CV 1363-17. It was in 2017. Between Nikon Insurance Limited and here is the defendant. The Ministry of Federal Capital Territory, represented by the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, is the first defendant in that case. The other defendant is People's Democratic Party. There's a pending action in which the minister is a party and is revoking the same property to which he is a defendant in the court case. That sounds curious, isn't it? Here's the document. The last adjourned, it wasn't a dead case. The case, the last adjourned day was February the 10th. They were in court. The minister was represented by his lawyers. February 10th, about a month ago. This on the same dead property that you are purportedly revoking, in which you are a party. And that tells you more story that it is not just about revocation, it's about other things beyond revocation, about some issues that are mentioned there. Represented by a barrister, Joseph Eric, is counsel to the Honorable Minister of the FCT in that case. The next adjourned date is May 5th. So it's an ongoing case. And then the minister, so now you now know why. But having said that, what we can tell you that, on the other part, the property, our title to properties are secure, safe, and our party members should not, there's nothing to be bothered about. Because the properties are validly our party's property, and in any event, when a matter is in court in which the minister is through the FCT, is a party, it's a defender. As a matter of fact, the next adjourned date on the 5th of May was at the instance of the lawyer of the FCT, by extension by the minister of the FCT, because he's the head of that ministry. The adjournment was at the instance to allow the lawyers of the minister to cross-examine the witness of the claimant. So it wasn't as if they are not aware of this. So we can just say there are no issues there. We know there are more to this, and we probably this should be clear to the whole world that there are more to the word revocation. I thank you very, very much for listening. My friends, I mean, they are in the eye of the stories from South. I think we have one or two things before we begin the questions. Chairman, you call me.
Question, sir.
I just want to say something. You know, this morning we woke up. I got a call. Because people are confused about that now. Yes, it's people are just knowing about, but they are confused because they don't know what is going to happen. It has never happened before. It's alien. And then, Mr. President, all through his speech, if you recall, he blamed the governor of. But what happened to the chief instigator? no mention was mentioned on the FCT minister, his own minister, who you all know is the chief instigator. He has held several press briefings, has insulted elders, has insulted the John Nation. Only last Saturday, he went to Malama. He went to the contingent of soldiers. He said, "We're being honored." A minister going about with the contingent of soldiers. So when the thing was announced on Tuesday, everybody just began. And you know why he cannot do it? Because he has found a loose cannon, a man who has no respect for authority, who believes in his own man. That's why he did what he did. It's unfortunate for us that our president has not got involved. Some of our men are federal out of the network. Those our senior officers, party officials were there. Because it is an APC threat to democracy. They want to capture River State. If you recall, the FCT minister was saying he's going to deliver River State. And this one of it. He's not going to stop at River State because he believes. That's why I'm telling our people to be very careful. I'm going to tell our governors to watch it. His target now is the South South. But the grace of God that brings the South South. My assignment was to bring peace there, discuss with our people. But unfortunately, there is no big city for us. So we are calling on you all, we are telling the whole world to know that this is the 2027 agenda. Nothing else. The lawyers have said it. It's not constitutional, I'm not a lawyer. But as a layman, I know you cannot do what you are doing. Thank you very much.
Yes. Mr. Chairman? Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, this afternoon, the president swore in the sole administrator for River State. The National Assembly is here to ratify his proclamation, even though the ball is not in their court. Your member, a member of the PDP, and Senator Abanoro, seconded the motion to approve the president's proclamation on River State. Now, my question is, if this is the case, how are you as a party able to mobilize your people, your members in the National Assembly, to deny this motion, these proclamations? You requisite 2/3 to go through. Since, as it seems now, your members are even in the charge of the president.
Thank you very much, sir. We as a party have NWC have a duty to set the policy directive of this party. In our statement yesterday, we've made our position clear and we are reiterating here. We will expect that our members would follow through the position of the party, particularly since it is so clear that this state of emergency declaration has ulterior motive, and in any event is unconstitutional, particularly in the whole of section 305 or any other part of the constitution. There's nowhere that the president can suspend a governor of the state or abridge the life of an assembly. Our position is very clear. We would expect that our parties who are members of our party, truly so-called, would follow through the position of the party as clearly elucidated, and we have provided that. We are asked to provide the guide, and then we'll take it up from there.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ulisi Oji. I work for the Islamic Super. You just mentioned that section 305 of the Constitution does not make based on which the president declared an emergency in Yoruba State, does not make provision for the suspension of the government. Now, the question I want to ask is, what next for the PDP? Will you be going to court to challenge that suspension? That is one. Then two, you said you expect your members to toe the line of the party. Have there been any form of engagements with your members over this matter? Or you're just expecting that because the party has said this, automatically they should do that thing?
Well, again, there's some supposition in your that what will we do? Why a party of rule of law and order will take what step and action that is consistent with the law and take that which is necessary to ensure that the provisions of this constitution, which we all swore to obey and abide with, are met. And so that's what we do. With respect to our members, the first question actually has equally been answered using the same question you are asking me in another form. When we communicate to our members, there's a channel of communication. We have communicated, we will expect, and that is where we leave it at now.
Sir, sorry. When you say you communicate or you have communicated and then you would expect, like my senior colleague here, Dr. Leon has said to you of what happened at the floor of the National Assembly, the upper chambers today, where the minority leader gave a nod to the charade from Rivers.
Give a nod or seconded?
Or seconded. Seconded is like giving a nod. So a lot of people would wonder, because when you are expectant of what your party members in the National Assembly will do, we all know that at the moment, like a lot of Nigerians will say that the PDP is divided. How can a divided house come together to form that support that you so desire? And then number two, for a long time, Nigerians expected an actionable move from the PDP. But it was kind of bedeviling to them that the PDP kept quiet, just numbers. How is it that the PDP has all of a sudden woken up to the impasse that had already occurred and expecting a miracle to take place? Has Wike been suspended from the party yet? What are the real motives, or what do you think, or what has the NWC discussed that will be the next action? Is Wike too big for the PDP?
I start with that question. Wike is not too big, and nobody is too big for the party. Put that in perspective. What I'm engaging you on today is about the issue of the state of the declaration of the emergency. And then you said something about we suddenly woke up. Maybe you have decided not to follow us as much as you used to be. And I understand that. There could be liturgy from your end. It's okay, it's understandable. But I can tell you something. This party is here to stay. No matter, I just gave an example. Some of the challenges. When I mentioned the word advisedly colluding, have people colluding? Those are challenges you have. But again, in a political setting, it can happen. And when it does happen, what you do as a party is to ensure what's the best way out of it. Okay? Recall that we set up a reconciliation committee. There are people who are irreconcilable. But you must give that group the opportunity to reconcile, right? And that you have not reconciled as fast as you thought doesn't mean inactivity. Doesn't mean that you are sleeping. It means that it may not be as fast because of the vagaries and probably the issues and individuals involved. But as a party, we are focused. That is why now they saw that we're making progress. It might be slow. You may not be visible as much as you want them to be. That's why this idea of revocation comes in. And now you can see, they're putting them together. They begin to take a step. Okay, why don't you? And like the chairman rightly said, this is about 2027. One party state, totalitarianism, the president's son, visiting the governor's daughter. I mean, for a country like this, really, I mean, it's sickening, but that's why your partnership is important. So that we don't go through this ground. I ended this conversation this afternoon by saying, before the state of emergency declaration purported in the university, there was peace. And I asked Mr. President, can you say that about it today? The answer is no. He should resolve problems, not to exacerbate problems. I think we should focus on that. As a party, we are taking steps, might be slow as well, but sure, we must defend the democracy. We put ourselves together. We're doing that. And when they see that, oh, they are trying to get their acts together. We inaugurated South-South Keska Committee. You were present. They thought it wasn't going to happen, right? But it happened. So slow, surely. That's why they brought this idea. Oh, revoke a land that even belongs to them by their own by the court action. So that should, I believe, explain a lot of this matter. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for this opportunity.
I wanted to ask a question.
Just one more, sir. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You held a meeting today.
Yeah.
The meeting discussed any action to be taken against the member of PDP who is serving in the APC government, Mr. Nelson Wike. I asked this question because the problems of which you are discussing here today has everything to do with Wike. He is the person that is causing the crisis in Rivers State. He is the minister of the FCT that revoked the PDP land. My question is, did the meeting discuss anything about him, or the meeting shied away from it?
Well, I take the word away that he was shied away. But my colleague effectively referred to some of these issues you mentioned. He said it clearly. And he referenced the fact that Mr. President did not, for some reason known to them, and of course we know it is 2027, he decided not to speak about the elephant in the room. But like I said, as a party, we have an institution to run. And my friend, let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you what I discussed in my meeting. I cannot tell you my resolution, and that's what I'm saying. Thank you very much.
We want to know the action.
Àwọn mẹ́rin lẹ́pàá lánàá báyìí, ẹlẹ́kẹrin kúsàkùn márùn-ún, ẹlẹ́karùn-ún kúsàkùn náà báyìí, ńlá tún pè báyìí, àwọn mẹ́rin wọ́n tún kó kù wọ́n bọ̀. Níbo ni wọ́n fẹ́ ká gbé ọ̀wá tájọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ń wòran, wọ́n dẹ̀ di security wà l'Ondo State. Sọ yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀, àwọn kan wá.